Hello, science students. So this is the video that shows the results for the fourth to-go lab, which is all about waves. So normally we would probably do some station activities in class, but instead you were given 4 activities to do at home. So you had the hot dog bun that goes with, or hot dog bun container that goes with the Hershey's bar, the little Slinky, an index card, a little bit of string, and about a half-size ruler, so about 6 inches. You also need is kind of that clear water glass, a metal spoon, a lab assistant, and maybe a plate and a microwave. So first activity, you have your Slinky Investigations. So the first thing you did is you just slide it side to side and you make a transverse wave. That's because the wave itself is moving perpendicular, so like up and down to the direction it's going left and right. So you can see the wave is kind of up and down. So in those 3 large ones, you see that's a much bigger amplitude, and when you shake your hand less, you get a much smaller amplitude. So that's all you're seeing in the first set of activities. Also notice that it does reflect when it hits the other side, and when a wave reflects on a stationary object like that, it usually reverses the wave. The third instruction was to do 3 waves quickly, and now you start to see some interference patterns. So you can see some spots where the waves really jumps up quite high, big amplitude, and some spots where it cancels out. So when 2 waves interact and they sort of become no wave at all. So you've probably seen that in the different interference patterns where you see the constructive interference gets really big or destructive where it shrinks down. After the transverse waves, we looked at longitudinal waves, also sometimes called compression waves. And all I did was release a little bit at a time here. And one little hint for you is if during these videos, if you're having trouble kind of observing, pick one spot on the Slinky and we'll pick that. So that's why I chose the rainbow colored one. So you can look at a blue spot or a red spot and you can really see the compressed parts, which would be the kind of the peak of this wave, and the spread out part, which would be kind of the weaker part or the trough of that wave. And then you can also get compression waves in the Slinky by just sliding your hand back and forth. You can really see how when they interact with each other, when I go a little bit faster, you can get some really squished spots and some really spread out spots. So you're seeing just the different parts of that compression wave, so that you can, and when it goes faster, you can see it as well, those really kind of shrunk up spots and spread out spots. Okay, so the next activity was the Wildcats, the reading Wildcats. I chose Wildcats through the glass. So when I look at the word Wildcats on a note card through a glass of water, the word is reversed, and that's because the light is being reflected and bounced through the glass, so it ends up at the other side of your eye. But if I reverse the word Wildcats in the mirror on the other side of me, you can see that the word Wildcats is now reversed. So it's reversed once in the mirror and once in the glass, and it now looks correct again. So just showing you that waves are kind of moving in interesting ways there. The next one, you just knock the spoon, you tie it in the middle of the string, and you hit it against an object, or you have somebody hit it, and you can hear a tone. It sounds like a tuning fork. When you shrink up the length of the string, to me, it actually sounds the same. It may have sounded different to you. Make sure you fill in the way you think it sounded to you. I think it may not change because those sound waves are moving in compression waves through the string instead of in transverse waves with the string moving back and forth. Okay, last one. We wanted to figure out the wavelength of the microwaves in your microwave oven. So I removed the dish in mine and the little kind of wheel thing that lets it spin around, and I just put that plate in there upside down to give me a surface. And then I put the chocolate bar, lined them all up on top of the hot dog bun, and put it in the oven. And I ran it for 20 seconds, and then I ran it for 5 seconds, I think 3 additional times, which for me ended up being too much. It works a little bit better if you reach in and touch and try to feel the melted spots. And that way, I ended up with a much bigger melted spot than I probably wanted, because it held its form really well. It didn't seem like it had melted yet. So when I pulled it out, I had to measure from the 2 center points of the 2 melted areas. And for my microwave, I found that the wavelength was half the wavelength was 11.5 centimeters measured between those 2. So when you double that, you get 23 centimeters. And for my microwave, the hertz were 2,450 megahertz. Hopefully you had fun with this lab, and we've got one more left to go. Thanks for watching.